Hi everyone. Today I am going to tell you a story. The story is of tragedy, about sheer coincidences, and a bit about, well, you will know what the story is about. I will tell in the end. So, Sutomo Yamaguchi was a Japanese naval engineer. On 6th August 1945, he was about to return from a 3 months long business trip where he was assigned in Hiroshima Mitsubishi dockyard. He was working on a project. He was working on a particular oil tanker. So, in the morning around 8:15 when he was returning, he was about to return, he and his other two co-workers, Akira and Kunoichi, thought that let us bid a final farewell to all the local co-workers we have worked with. So, the three people were walking towards the dockyard when Yamaguchi looked above the sky and saw a B 29 bomber plane soaring above them. And not only that, it has dropped something. It has dropped something, the parachute has opened, and something was coming down towards it. Now, by this time, I think you people had understood that what catastrophe is going to happen. But you have to understand, you have to remember this for the rest of the story, that by that time, nobody in the whole world had an idea what an atomic bomb can do. Yes, this is a story of the Hiroshima atomic bomb attack, the first atomic bomb attack. So, Yamaguchi, seeing that, he panicked, but he saw that in the mid-air that package, the person had bursted, and the only thing he saw was a white bright light. Later in his interview, he described this white light as a giant magnesium flare. You know those things at the tip of your firecrackers, the bright light? It was much brighter. So to save himself, immediately Yamaguchi jumped inside a trench. He tried to jump inside at least, but that shockwave flew him away and drove him into a nearby potato field. And after that, everything was blank. After some time, when Yamaguchi got his senses back, he got up. He saw that everything was dark. I mean, it was so dark, it was so much dust was flowing around, the sunlight cannot come to him. He said that it was like the beginning of a movie. I really wish it was a beginning of a movie, but it was a beginning of an utter catastrophe. Somehow, he stood up, he saw himself, 50% of his body was burnt. It was a radiation burn. Enough damage has been done even for him to stand up. But he thought, let me find my friends. Unfortunately, he found his two co-workers. But when they looked around, they saw everything in rubble. Everything was gone, everything was shattered. The amount of disaster was so unimaginable, for some moment they were not even able to speak anything. But somehow they got their courage, they started to go to the nearby airbase. They entered the airbase. They saw that the whole airbase was jam-packed with people who were burned, who were injured, and who were panicked. It was an utter chaos. The first thing, nobody has seen such disaster in their whole life. A small certain thing can, leave alone a small certain thing, anything can bring down such disaster? No, nobody has seen it yet. And the worst thing was, they do not know when the next attack is coming. So everyone was panicking. Somehow Yamaguchi had got his primary medical attention. He had been wrapped with bandages. But then he thought, I want to go back to my hometown. I have to report my work. Now the thing is, I do not know what you would have done, what I would have done, but Japanese people are very famous for their work culture. They wanted to report this thing, what has happened. The project has been gone to poof. He wanted to report. So the next day, he started for his hometown. He crossed the pile of corpses, burning streets, twisted bridges. He swam across the black, dark water. And finally, he reached his hometown. The first thing he wanted to do after going to his hometown, he wanted to meet his wife, he wanted to meet his children. He went in front of his wife and children to his home. They did not recognize him. His own mother thought he was a ghost. It was such bad condition. He was wrapped with bandages top to bottom. But somehow, they understood that what has happened, though it was unbelievable, they tried to mend him, they changed his bandages and asked him to rest. But Yamaguchi, being our Yamaguchi, thought that the best course of action is to go right here, right now, to his boss in his hometown, the Mitsubishi headquarters, and report what has happened. He entered the headquarters, he met his boss, he said everything he could. But his boss said, now think about this. Again, I am telling you, this was unfathomable for anybody to even imagine such thing can happen. And that was not an era of internet. Though by that time already Harry Truman has the United States president has already declared that this is a nuclear missile bomb attack from America towards the eastern front of World War II, and if they do not surrender, many more to follow. So by this time, Yamaguchi is trying his level best to make his boss understand what has happened, and his boss is saying, "You have gone mad. What are you saying? This is unbelievable." But by this time, Yamaguchi looked outside of the window and saw the horizon glowing with white light, and he saw the mushroom cloud. He thought, he is saying, this is a quote from Yamaguchi, that he thought the mushroom cloud is following me from Hiroshima. But by this time he knew what to do. He immediately ducked himself under the furniture. The atomic blast happened, the shockwave came, glasses shattered, furniture blew away, the boss is gone by the second. And after some minutes or hours maybe, Yamaguchi again rose up from the rubble. Now Yamaguchi had survived not one, two atomic bomb attack. Yes, his hometown was in Nagasaki, and this was the second atomic bomb attack by America, which was even more stronger atomic bomb than the first one, called as Fat Man. So somehow Yamaguchi survived. But the worst thought came to his mind, what about my child? What about my wife? He ran towards his home. He stood in front of his home and saw half of his house just scattered all over. There was nothing. Almost half is gone. He broke down. He started crying. And when he looked up, he saw his child and his wife standing almost unharmed. Only some superficial damage. Now this is the beauty of this story. This is the reason I really appreciate this story. Just think about the coincidences. When he asked that how in the world you people are unharmed, as a reply, his wife and his child said that we were searching for herbs to treat your wound in the basement of the house. So as the top part of the house is already gone, almost gone, they were safe under the basement. Now think about the coincidences. What if Yamaguchi had not survived in Hiroshima? He could not have come to his house. His wife would not be under the basement. They would have been dead. What if the first thing after coming from Hiroshima, the first thing Yamaguchi had thought was to go and report to his boss? Again, same result. His wife and child would have died. What if Yamaguchi thought that, no, today I will not go to my boss, I will not report it, my body is enough damaged, I will take rest. He would be in the top part of the house and he would have been dead. So can you understand the beauty of this story, the amount of coincidences involved with this story? So this was a good reason enough for me to love this story. But there is another reason why I am sharing this story with you people. Recently, I had gone to an online platform and I had an argument with a certain somebody. His argument was that even after investing such amount of big budget to science and etc., science is not doing enough. Science has not come with a single pill which can cure cancer. Science is still yet to go to different planet other than Mars, science is too backdated. By this time, we should have been flying going to our office in flying cars. See, even in the corona vaccine came so late. So this was his argument. So I understood that this certain person is not learned enough and has an idea that science is not doing enough for the society, so for our future. So I stopped there and I came back, and later I thought that maybe there are more people who are still think like this. So the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is that there is a follow up to this story. The story does not end here. Tsutomu Yamaguchi, being the first person recognized by Japanese government as a Niju Hibakusha, which literally means twice bomb person. Though he was the first person to be recognized, officially recognized, he was not the only person. There were 165 people in Japan who have survived both Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bomb war, where many had died. These 165 people survived both of them. Them, along with 1,20,000 more people who had survived at least one atom bomb war. Can you understand when I am saying at least one atom bomb war, atomic bomb attack? What that means? They have survived something like a element of nightmare. They have survived that. They have nothing to prove to this world. So all these people for the last 70 years are voluntarily going and being a part of a 70 years running genetic experiment project, a genetic study. They are still giving us the knowledge we are getting from them about what a long term radiation can cause you, your body, to your later generation. This is from where many things had been discovered. For example, this is where people had drawn the connection between radiation and leukemia, where at that point leukemia was a very rare disease, but people understood why cancer is happening, what is the connection between radiation and cancer. So can you understand the contribution of this 1,20,000 people, or this 165 people who had nothing to prove to the society? They have been bombed, for God's sake. They are somehow surviving and still they are contributing. So this is entirely my opinion. Science has nothing to prove, science has nothing to do to secure our future. Science has no contribution to make. It is our duty to contribute something towards that science. I, as a PhD student, I would try my level best in my entire life to do that. But it's not only the responsibility of a scientist or a PhD student or any educated person to do something for the society, for the science. You can do anything. You read, you know properly, you ignore false forward messages which is coming, which has no scientific background. You do those things. You appreciate the beauty of in science, even to prove one single trivial thing, you have to cover it from so many bases. It's very easy to say that a certain thing is there in certain liquid, and this is the reason you cannot consume the liquid, or you should consume the liquid to cure your disease. But to prove that there are groundbreaking experiments going on or needed to be done. So this is my advice. Do your bit, know your part, and do your bit for the betterment of science, for betterment of society, for the betterment of future. Because if you do not, and if you only think that scientists and PhDs and postdocs are going to do all those things for you, it is like saying that I can throw the pizza crust on my floor and let it be there, because today janitor has not come to clean my house. It's his job or it's her job to clean that. It's not my job. So please, that's my request. So this is the reason I told you the story. I really like to tell stories. So if you really like this, let me know in the comment. If you really want me to tell more stories like this, I would appreciate your comment and I will try to make those stories. Thank you. Bye.